Good morning, everyone. I'm Megyn Kelly. It's Wednesday, February 11th, 2026, and this is your AM Update.
I do believe we are looking at people who, as we say, are persons of interest.
A person has been detained for questioning in connection with the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie.
Do you think you're going to hell, Mr. Lyons?
I'm not going to end.
Of course not.
A contentious ICE hearing, top Trump immigration officials standing by their performance as lawmakers clash over Trump's deportation policies and tactics. The New York Times pivoting on pot, now pushing limits on high-strength marijuana. Super Bowl 60 ratings are in, a massive audience, but short of last year's record. And how did the controversial halftime show do? All that and more coming up in just a moment on your AM Update. Let's talk hot salt. Firecracker Farm hot salt, to be exact, the gold standard for its flavor, quality, and heart. This is not just a great gift, which it is. It's the secret to making everyday meals special and, quite frankly, delicious. If you are worried about it being too hot, look for Vanilla Heat. It's a wonderful, mild blend created by the founder, Alex, and his daughter, focused on gentle flavor over brute force. Alex and his family make every small batch on their farm, packaged in their signature precision stainless steel push grinders that feel solid in hand and are very satisfying to use. Stop settling for generic. Ready to see what you've been missing? Go to firecracker.farm and use code MK for 10% off your hot salt. Better get to know it now before they run out again. All right, get to it. One more time, that's firecracker.farm. A person has been detained for questioning in connection with the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, per ABC News. It happened south of Tucson in Rio Rico, Arizona, near the Mexican border, reports the New York Times, with law enforcement preparing to search a location associated with the individual who authorities are not calling a person of interest, only a subject. The news follows a huge break in the Guthrie case. The FBI releasing newly recovered still images and video from a Nest camera outside the front door of Nancy's home, for the first time showing a suspect. The chilling footage capturing an individual wearing a full face-covering ski mask, showing only the eyes and a mouth hole, revealing what appeared to be visible facial hair, a mustache, and a soul patch, or hair right under the lower lip. The figure, who appears to be male, approaching Nancy's front door with what looks like a small flashlight held in his mouth. The person sauntering up to the Nest camera, almost with nonchalance, seen lightly tapping the camera with gloved hands, then pulling plants from the rock garden and attempting to cover the lens. The person detained yesterday, who does appear to share a physical resemblance to the masked figure in the photos captured outside of Nancy's home, released early this morning. The man telling ABC 15 he wishes only to be identified by his first name, Carlos, speaking out early this morning.
How did this all start? How did they stop you here? You were driving here?
No,
or?
my wife was driving.
Your wife was driving?
Because they were following me. And once I saw they were following me, I pulled over. They didn't even have to put a traffic stop or anything. I got off the car, and they arrested me as soon as I got off the car. They didn't even tell me what was going on until the detectives got here, like 2 hours before I got arrested. And then the detectives got here. It was the FBI agent in Santa Cruz County. And they told me I was being detained for kidnapping. And I asked them, like, well, kidnapping of who? And they told me this lady, I don't know her name. And
Nancy Guthrie?
Yeah, that's her. And I told him, I work in Tucson for GLS. I might have delivered a package to your house, but I never kidnapped anybody.
TMZ reporting the FBI had only just obtained the newly released images of the apparent intruder, releasing them immediately rather than holding them back. Last night, former FBI Special Agent Stuart Kaplan telling Laura Ingraham on Fox, this tape is a game changer.
Facial recognition relies upon measurements, distance between the eyes, the width of the nose. And so the FBI has already mapped out this person's face, run it through facial recognition technology, where you could square it up and pick out a driver's license, meaning a person who may be a registered driver in the state of Arizona or in the state of California, wherever that person may reside, and get an identical match, notwithstanding we're all looking at a person who has a mask on, and as you said, well, dark eyes, a potential mustache. Well, facial recognition looks beyond that mask, and I can tell you you, Laura. As I said last night, we were on the precipice of this case being cracked wide open. It is cracked wide open.
TMZ also reporting law enforcement sources involved in the investigation believe the perpetrator is local to Tucson. Law enforcement going door to door last night asking neighbors and local businesses for information on the newly identified person on camera. The FBI's elite hostage team has been deployed to Tucson along with the SWAT team, which also remains deployed. FBI Director Kash Patel telling Sean Hannity last night about some new leads.
Sean, without polluting the investigation, I will say we have made substantial progress in these last 36, 48 hours thanks to the technical capabilities of the FBI and our partnerships. And I do believe we are looking at people who, as we say, are persons of interest. But as you know, with any investigation, you are a person of interest until you're either eliminated or you're actually found to be the culprit or the culprits involved. And that's the stage we're at right now.
Last night, Tucson outlet KGUN confirming reports of some activity in the Bitcoin account listed in the ransom note, amounting, though, to less than $300, well short of the $6 million demand. Anchor Mary Coleman of KOLD in Tucson reporting early this morning the sheriff tells her there have been no signs of Nancy. Coleman adding a life flight out of the area yesterday, which generated some buzz on X, was unrelated to the Guthrie case. Anyone with information is urged to call 1-800-CALL-FBI or submit tips at tips.fbi.gov. The Fed's offering a $50,000 reward for information leading to Nancy's recovery or the arrest and conviction of those responsible. 3 top Trump immigration officials appearing before the House Homeland Security Committee yesterday, defending the administration's mass deportation campaign. Acting ICE Director Todd Lyons, Customs and Border Protection Commissioner Rodney Scott, and U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services Director Joseph Edlow, touting what they describe as historic enforcement gains.
From January 20th, 2025 through January 20th, 2026, ICE has conducted nearly 379,000 arrests. Among those arrests were more than 7,000 suspected gang members and over 1,400 known as suspected terrorists.
And the numbers speak for themselves. We have achieved record low illegal crossings between ports of entry. Border Patrol apprehensions along the southwest border totaled over 90,000 for the entire year. That's a number that used to represent a single month under the Biden administration.
Our fraud detection and national security team completed over 21,000 investigations, identifying fraud in approximately 65% of those cases.
The hearing coming amid mounting fallout from the federal immigration surge in Minneapolis, where 2 agitators, Renee Good and Alex Preddy, were killed in confrontations with federal immigration officers. Lyons and Scott repeatedly declining to comment about those incidents, citing pending investigations. Lyons taking the brunt of Democrats' fire. Congressman Eric Swalwell of California pressing him over 5-year-old Liam Ramos, who was taken into protective custody after his father fled ICE agents on foot, abandoning his child, then, upon apprehension, telling agents he wanted his boy to stay with him in detention pending deportation.
Considering your honorable service in the past and the dishonorable acts that those who have worked for you have conducted, and the disgraceful statements that the leadership above you have said, you now have a decision. Will you stand with the kids who you're supposed to protect, or will you side with the killers bringing terror to our streets? Mr. Lyons, will you resign from ICE?
No, sir, I won't.
Why not?
Because, sir, that child that you're showing right there, the men and women of ICE took care of him when his father abandoned him and ran from law enforcement.
Time has expired.
Congressman Sri Tanadar of Michigan, who has introduced legislation to abolish ICE and who co-sponsored a bill to impeach DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, neither of which have advanced, with this threat to Rodney Scott.
Do you believe President Trump will pardon you?
I'm not going to speak on behalf of President Trump, but I'll tell you, I signed up for this job to protect America, and I'm very proud of the service that I provide, and I don't need a pardon from anybody.
Well, you better hope so. You better hope you get being pardoned, because you will be held accountable for the absolute disregard of the law your agencies have shown over the past year.
Congresswoman LaMonica McIver of New Jersey presenting Lyons with this absurd line of questioning.
Mr. Lyons, do you consider yourself a religious man?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yes. Okay, well, how do you think Judgment Day will work for you with so much blood on your hands?
I'm not going to entertain that question.
Oh, okay, of course not. Do you think you're going to hell, Mr. Lyons?
I'm not going to entertain.
Of course not. How many government...
The gentlelady will suspend. The gentlelady will suspend.
Republicans, largely focusing on operations to remove criminal illegal aliens from their communities and giving officials ample time to defend their agents operating under hostile conditions. GOP Congressman Eli Crane of Arizona accusing Democrats of focusing more on immigration politics than the victims of crimes committed by illegal immigrants.
Mr. Scott, Mr. Lyons, do you guys remember any riots for some of these victims that were assaulted and victimized by illegal alien criminals like Nate Baker, Laken Riley, Fletcher Harris, Skylar Provenza, Ivory Smith? I've got a whole list of them. Do you remember any riots from our Democrats or their constituents when any of these American citizens were victimized by illegal alien criminals?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Why do you think that is? Because that's the question that I get asked all the time. Congressman, why do the Democrats care more about illegal alien criminals than they care about these American citizens?
I cannot speculate, but when I look at the chaos that it creates and the corrosive nature that it creates, I go beyond the politics of the United States and I look at our nation state adversaries like Iran, Russia, and China and their influence on social media to keep this negative discourse going. And I think this is a much bigger issue than we're actually admitting that it is in here.
Coming up, the New York Times admitting it was wrong on pot, now advocating for a ban on ultra-potent marijuana. Feeling sluggish, bloated, not quite like yourself? Life constantly bombards us with silent threats. Processed foods, artificial light, nonstop stress, all of which can disrupt gut health, drain energy, and weaken immune health. When that happens, it's not that your body is broken, it's that it might be missing the right inputs. That's why I want to tell you about Armra colostrum. It's packed with more than 400 bioactive nutrients that they say can work at a foundational level to fortify gut health, support immune health, fuel recovery, and promote whole body vitality. Strong gut integrity can support metabolism, skin and hair health, even performance and recovery, which is why colostrum has long been valued by some elite athletes as well. If you are looking to take back control of your health from the inside out, consider Armra. And they have a special deal for you now. Go to armra.com/Megyn or enter Megyn to get 35% off your first subscription order. That's armra.com/MEGYN. The New York Times editorial board now acknowledging serious downsides to marijuana legalization, a notable shift from its longstanding support for the drug. The new op-ed headlined, "It's time for America to admit that it has a marijuana problem." Back in 2014, the Times publishing a 6-part series urging Congress to repeal the federal marijuana ban, writing that addiction and dependence were, quote, relatively minor problems, and suggesting legalization would not significantly increase use or cause major harm. Now the board conceding many of those predictions were completely wrong. The editorial acknowledging legalization has coincided with a sharp rise in use, with roughly 18 million Americans now using marijuana almost daily, far higher than in past decades and more than those who drink alcohol daily. The Times pointing to mounting health and public safety concerns, including rising addiction rates, increasing hospitalizations tied to paranoia and psychotic disorders, and a growing number of innocent people injured in accidents caused by people driving under the influence of marijuana. Still, the board stopping short of calling for prohibition, instead laying out a regulatory crackdown. The piece ending, quote, "The unfortunate truth is that the loosening of marijuana policies, especially the decision to legalize pot without adequately regulating it, has led to worse outcomes than many Americans expected. It is time to acknowledge reality and change course." Former New York Times reporter and one of the leading voices against marijuana legalization, Alex Berenson, reacting to the Times' suggestion of capping THC potency at 60%, telling us, quote, "The Times' suggestion sounds nice, but it will not solve the underlying problems with cannabis use or legalization, and it will create a massive black market by criminalizing some of the industry's most popular products. We'll be left with the problems of criminalization and legalization." Berenson, author of Tell Your Children, The Truth About Marijuana, Mental Illness, and Violence, has long argued that marijuana is linked to catastrophic problems. Last month on the Megyn Kelly Show, Berenson warning that many Americans misunderstand the strength of today's marijuana.
50 years ago, if you smoked a joint, it had a few milligrams of THC in it. Now it might have 100 milligrams of THC in it. The reason is that the industry has gotten really, really good at making what they call flower, herbal cannabis, a lot stronger. So it used to be, let's say, 1 to 3% THC. Now you couldn't sell that in a store. You'd be laughed out of the store. It's mostly 20 to 30% THC, but it's not like joints have gotten smaller. So it's just much, much easier to consume a ton of THC than it used to be. The other issue is that a lot of people don't even use flower cannabis anymore. They just vape. So that's basically just ingesting a chemical, either inhaling it, eating it in a brownie, possibly literally putting a little tincture on your tongue. That's just pure THC. And the idea, one of the things that people who use cannabis say is, oh, it's a plant, it's natural. This stuff is no more natural than anything else that comes out of a lab.
The ratings for Super Bowl 60 are now in, the game falling short of last year's all-time record. An average of 124.9 million viewers tuning in across NBC, Peacock, Telemundo, NBC Sports Digital, and NFL Plus, according to Nielsen. Viewership peaking in the second quarter at 137.8 million, setting the record for highest peak viewership in history, as the Seahawks led the Patriots 6-0 at that point. As for the halftime show, despite massive social media promotion, Bad Bunny's mostly Spanish performance did not surpass last year's audience. No bueno. The halftime show averaging 128.2 million, about 5 million lower than rapper Kendrick Lamar's record-setting performance last year, which netted 133.5 million views. The Turning Point USA alternative, which had 6.1 million concurrent views, no doubt contributing to that dip in millions tuning out from Bad Bunny this year. And that'll do it for your AM Update. I'm Megyn Kelly. Join me back here for the MK Show live on SiriusXM's The Megyn Kelly Channel, 111 at noon East, on youtube.com/Megyn Kelly, and on all podcast platforms.